I first got into firearms growing up. We always had an air rifle and a 22 around the property and sort of started shooting them, and it triggered something in the brain where it really starts to interest you growing up, and had a lot of mechanical interest in cars as well. So obviously firearms, we're talking 80,000 PSI in some cases in the chamber. You know, how you make that work is quite important. And then from there, growing up, I started working part-time at a gun shop, and then that went full-time very quickly. And from there, I moved up to NIA in Brisbane 3.5 years ago and started working as an optics technician for NIA, and then now on the sales side. I've been shooting precision rifle for 6 years now, since 2019. I first started on the rimfire side of things before getting into the centerfire down the track. I rank myself as a fairly good shooter, but certainly haven't won too many matches or anything like that. The level of competition is very, very high, but it's the chase of it that I really enjoy. I first started working in the gun trade in around early 2019. I would have been around 19 years of age at that point, and started working there on weekends, just doing some sort of general sales stuff on Saturday mornings. From there, obviously starting to get into a bit more of the gun cleaning, the maintenance, the scope mounting side of things. And then from there, coming on full-time, learning a lot more of the all-encompassing of, you know, how reloading works, each component, what's it doing, how's this happening, what's the best option you can do, what's the difference in a full length and a neck sizing die, for example. But doing that across the board for firearms, optics, you know, a bit pistol, shotgun, rifle, and having that real depth in each of those areas. My current role is the product category manager for Leupold in Australia. I applied for a position at NIA for an optics technician and armourer role, so working on the Leupold rifle scopes and then a number of different firearms platforms. I was successful and then got that job. So from there, learning how to pull apart Leupold rifle scopes from each model all the way through from the early 60s and 70s all the way to the current models, and then how to obviously clean, reassemble them, you know, find small problems that might be in them and fix them, and then get them back out to the customer from there. Yep, so we travel around Australia quite a bit doing training on Leupold with dealers, as well as attending some of the more major events and things like that, like SHOT Show, for example. But we also work in New Zealand on the NIA side of things as well. So if for the major events like the Seeker Show later this year, we'll go over there as well and have a nice Leupold stand. First started shooting for precision rifle, I had a Ruger Precision rimfire. From there, I went through a further 2 different rimfire setups over time and started to settle down. And this is the second centerfire I've got now. So we've got an Aero Precision. It's a REM 700 footprint action with 3 lugs, their full competition chassis. But things have evolved a fair bit in the last 5 years precision rifle-wise. The refinement on the rifles in particular has been a real big leap forward. And same thing with scopes. Obviously I've gone up higher and higher end models and settled down on the Leupolds now. And they're a very, very good platform and one I'm very comfortable with. So working front to back on this rifle, the things that I've done to it from factory are very, very minimal because I like to run this in the production class. So we've got a new muzzle brake on the front of it. We have an Atlas bipod there to give us a good rock solid platform. A series of weight kits. So for PRS, everything's about recoil, and there's 2 ways we can reduce our recoil. One is obviously the speed and the weight of our projectile going out the barrel, but we can also add weight to the rifle to absorb that recoil. So for PRS, it's very important to have a heavy gun wherever possible because you're shooting from rock solid stable positions. Coming back further through the gun, the only other non-factory addition is just a Y-bad cheek piece. I like it to just give a bit more comfort on the cheek rest so that I can sit there and push into it comfortably. I don't feel like I'm pushing into plastic. It works quite well for me. Outside of that, I've done a little bit of playing with the mag catch just to adjust it to the right height so my mags sit in there, but that's a factory feature of the gun. Obviously adjustable stock. And then the Leupold Mark V, I run a bubble level just on the side there and an analog just so I can see and make sure that my shots are level and correct. I'd like to one day make it to the International Precision Rifle Federation shoots and shoot in the World Championship. That'd be very cool.